Morning everyone, Flightsimguy here, and today I want to make a quick half-ass presentation on speed brakes or air brakes or whatever you want to call them. Let's go ahead and do that. There. Yes, I want to do a half-ass episode on speed brakes, air brakes, or spoilers. Now I chose this particular subject because it we think of it pretty straightforward as to what these are and how they're used, but there's actually a lot more to them. And since I've learned more about them, I've been a lot more disciplined in how they're used. Alright, so let's get the phraseology straight. You have air brakes, speed brakes, and spoilers. They're actually different things. Air brakes and speed brakes are interchangeable. Spoilers behave like speed brakes and air brakes, but they can also do something else. With regards to the definitions, all three of them, what they do is they slow the plane down. Okay? Air brakes, speed brakes, spoilers, they all slow the plane down. And all three of them create drag. And that in the process helps to slow the plane down. However, how they do it and the specific definitions are a little bit different. Now, one of the reasons I chose this jet is because the Phenom is an extremely clean aircraft. The design, the airfoil, it's swept wing, very clean. That means it's very fast, climbs like a rocket ship, and when it's time to get down, descending and slowing down at the same time is not very easy. So I left Cuba, Havana, Cuba. I'm going to Jamaica. It's a very short flight. We are looking at 100 and what's it? Let's see here. According to the GPS, 416 miles. This will take a little bit more than an hour. Obviously, I'm not going to keep you here the whole time. I will edit it out as needed. Alright, let's go ahead and increase my speed. I'm using this jet to demonstrate speed brakes, spoilers, and air brakes. And like I said, this plane is very clean. Now, air brakes and speed brakes, how are they different from spoilers? Well, the main thing about air brakes and speed brakes is take a look at the F-15 Eagle or the SU-27. The air brake on that is actually on the fuselage. Okay? Whereas if you look at the A-10 or just about any other general aviation aircraft, the air brake, quote unquote, are on the wings. Flaps or whatever is protruded to slow the aircraft down on the spoiler on the aircraft fuselage, it does so simply by creating drag, and that's how it slows it down. With the F-15, this thing pops up on top of the plane, it creates drag, and the plane slows down. And warbirds usually have to use a lot of air brakes because they can't afford to slow the plane down any other way, because the airframe design is typically not aerodynamic friendly, and it's fly-by-wire, and that's the only way you can slow down. Spoilers, on the other hand, are these boards or panels or whatever that actually lives on the wing. In this case, for this particular aircraft, the spoilers, and I guess I'll demonstrate them in a second, but they live on the wing, and when you pop them out, they pop up and they create drag and they slow the plane down. Alright, let's go ahead and get my altitude in check here. I haven't flown this plane in a while, so alright, I'm going to leave it at 30,000 feet. Now, yeah, the spoilers, they live on the wings, you pop them out and they slow the plane down. I read where this pilot, this very, very senior, experienced pilot, he was up for retraining, and in the classroom, what they had was they had a video where the camera was located on the belly of a 747 pointed at the landing gear, and they had two instances of the same. They had two instances of the same video. The first instance, they showed the plane landing without the spoilers extended. It's just a regular landing, no spoilers. and the second video had with the spoilers. Now the one without the spoilers, it showed the landing gear compressing at a decent clip because all the weight of the aircraft come down on the landing gear as it's glided onto the runway without the spoilers. However, when the spoilers were engaged, the compression of the landing gear doubled, okay, and a lot more weight went onto the gear, causing more pressure to go on the tires, which leads to further contact between the tires and the runway, which creates more friction, which slows the aircraft down even further. And that's the big deal about spoilers. Air brakes are simple. You're going too fast, you pop them out, they come out on the fuselage somewhere, whether the top or the sides, and it slows you down. Spoilers, they slow you down, but most importantly, they dump a lot of lift from the wings, as much as 90%. So in other words, the difference between landing on the runway and not landing on the runway or rolling off the runway can be whether you decide to use your spoilers or not. A lot of times, most of my simming career, I never used spoilers because I thought they were marginal. On the other hand, most of the runways I landed at were pretty long and it didn't make a difference. But I've come to learn that when you're landing, arming your spoilers has to be on your checklist, because the second the wheels touch down on the runway, they deploy and they kill 90% of the lift from the wings. So that does several things. Number one, it makes sure the wings don't fly again for whatever reason. Okay, and number two, it forces more weight of the aircraft onto the landing gear to increase the effectiveness of the brakes. So it's very important to arm your spoilers. Now, in FSX, the keyboard command for spoilers is a slash under the question mark. Pressing that, pops up and pops down the spoilers. Shift slash arms the spoilers. Let's see if I can demonstrate that here. Where's the spoilers on this thing? Around here somewhere. In one of my older videos where I flew from St. Martin to Jamaica, I didn't do my vertical planning, my vertical flight planning, or what do you want to call the VNAV. I don't use VNAV on my flight management computer. I manage the vertical profile myself because I don't like the idea of the flight management computer controlling the speeds, because very often, or too often, it's caused me problems. Primarily because I don't do it right. I have enough to learn as it is. I don't need any more, stressing me out. So I was coming in from St. Martin to Jamaica, and as far as being 40 miles from the runway at 10,000 feet, I was within 38 miles of the runway, and I was at 13,000 feet. And with this video, you can see it right here, I had to use the spoilers on the 757 to arrest my descent. Now what that does is, when you pop the boards, it allows you to lower the nose to a faster rate of descent than normal. In this case, I went down, I think, 2,800 feet per minute. And what that did was, it arrested my speed at around 250 knots. So I was coming down pretty steep, but it wouldn't go any faster just because those little boards were popped out, and by dumping lift from the wings, normally the plane doesn't want to fly anymore because there's no lift, or most of the lift under the wings are gone. So the plane wants to descend or wants to go down faster. However, using the elevators, it's keeping the plane at the same altitude, so it's got to give up something. Can't have it both ways. It's got to give up something. So by giving up lift, maintaining the altitude, it gave up speed. That's my interpretation. I could be wrong, but this is the reason why I call it a half-assed video. And in that case, it allowed me to get down from, where was I? What altitude? I was at about 13,000. It got me to get from 13,000 to about 5,000 in short order, and before you know it, my flight plan was corrected. In this case, I'm going to make it so that, what's my speed? I am 1 hour away, 342 miles. I'm going to make it so that I'm coming in a little bit high and show you how the speed brake, or in this case, the spoilers, actually work. There it is right there. Okay. Alright, let's just go ahead and do a straight old pattern entry. Coming in a little bit fast. Let's go ahead and arrest our descent rate. Let's go ahead and trim up. Kill the lift off the wings. And there it goes. Bring it back down. The nose should slowly fall by itself. There's the airport right there. 8,000 feet right next to the airport. Alright, this is a perfect opportunity to demonstrate spoilers again. Pop them out. I'm at 8,000 feet, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come in and I'm going to land. I'm in the pattern. I'm essentially downwind right now. Now the problem with this, you can't use spoilers with the flaps. It's iffy at best. It's usually not recommended, and most airlines completely forbid that. So I'm using my trusty spoilers. They're creating drag, but the bulk of the work right now is killing lift. And killing lift, that's the thing. Airfoils are designed to be generate as much lift as possible, depending on the fuselage, how much weight it's carrying, fuel requirements and whatnot. And wings are designed to not have anything on them. So a layer of water, let's say you're flying through rain, a layer of water will interrupt the airflow to the point where it will increase the stall speed by a couple percent. Snow and ice, if you have ice buildup on the wings, okay, it's over my shoulder, I can start coming down. If you have ice buildup on the wings, that's enough to destroy lift. In this case, these two panels of metal on the wings are dumping enough lift that I can actually come down from 7,000 feet to do a pattern entry at Norman Manley. Now I need to maintain a steep dive because it's also killing my airspeed. By keeping the nose down, I can maintain my airspeed. I'm making my turn to base. I'm at 5,000 feet, still too high, but because of the spoilers, I can keep my speed in check. Now that jet is ahead of me, and he is on final. I'm just going to come in right behind him. Engines are idled. Alright, I disabled active sky, so I shouldn't have to worry about his wake. 3,500 feet. I want to come down some more. Just get right behind him. And at this point,
sink rate. Terrain.
I can
pull
go
up. Sink rate.
Thank you.
Sink.
Shut up. I can pull in the spoilers. Give it one notch flaps. Gear down. At this point, the landing gear is a very, very effective speed brake. It just goes ahead and creates so much drag, it slows you down. And I can also give it another notch of flaps. And I really need to slow down. Now I need to stay behind this guy, and it's very tempting to use spoilers, but I can't because I already have flaps down. It's armed, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it full another notch of spoilers. That will slow me down even further, and that should give this guy plenty of time to come down.
Bombardier Hotel, Kilo 1456 is 8 miles northwest, inbound ILS, runway 12.
Now he is 1.4 miles ahead of me. That is too close. As I get down lower, the distance that he is in front of me should increase. Let's take a look on the outside.
Runway 12, Bombardier 456.
And if I have any more flaps, I can give it one more notch. What's my speed? One more notch of flaps. Now, I need to push this thing down, otherwise it'll just float over the runway.
Pacific 4235, go around. Bombardier 456, cleared to land, runway 12. On Embraer, on final.
Okay, so he was told to go around. Thank you very much, ATC, for wanting us doing this job.
Traffic. 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 Traffic.
Okay. Coming down pretty fast.
500. 400.
I've been at idle since I made my turn
300.
to base.
200.
Okay. Give it some gas.
100.
'Has no speed brakes or no has no reverse thrusters.
Embraer, Charlie Alpha Mike, exit runway when able.
Okay, let's see if I can make this turn. And I can. There we go.
Embraer, Charlie Alpha Mike, contact ground on 121.7.
Steam.
Bombardier 456,
Taxiing way too fast. Flaps up. We just go straight.
Bombardier 456, exit runway when able.
Over here. And that's it. Anyway, this didn't go exactly as planned. Probably shouldn't have used real world weather since it was so jacked up. But anyway, it gave me a perfect opportunity to demonstrate how spoilers are properly used. Essentially, use them to get down fast.
Bombardier 456.
Spoilers are on wings, air brakes and speed brakes are on the fuselage, and don't use spoilers and flaps at the same time. And essentially that's it. And that's all I have for today, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Flightsimguy here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.